don't love your job, job your love. It's like my body did a recoil.
Don't love your job, job your love.
Like what? Like what? Like what the? Good morning, Anita.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. Loving life,
Good.
loving my job,
Job in your love.
because I jobbed my life. Exactly. And that's what we're here to talk about. This statement that has been flying around the internet and by these people, these obviously coaches or whatever. And look, they have lots of wisdom actually, and I think it's, but also
Go on, tell me more. Tell me more.
I'm not sure why I found. Now I think I actually used that statement in one of my impersonating yogis and coaches videos, which I'll put in here. But I guess it's true. I get it, but like it's just that there's so many freaking statements and this and that, and I'm just like, really? Don't love your job, job your love? Like what? What? Like really? Can we just like, I don't know. It makes sense, but also it's like, can we just be clear? So let's clear it up. So how do you feel when you heard that statement?
I loved it because for me it's a real shadow element of that is what I did 10 years ago. Yeah. So I was in a job that I didn't love for many years and then came to Australia, discovered coaching, and it was like this realization for me that I'm getting paid for being me. That's how I saw it. So I was totally like, I love talking to people. I love asking people questions. I absolutely love it. So I have made a job out of what I love rather than being in a job just to earn money. I was now getting paid to be me.
I like, yeah, I'm actually sorry. I'm just having a bit of a mount problem because you know what? Somebody didn't charge their mount, and now here we are on this journey of like using a glass and a box. So if people could see this, but that's how I roll. Anyways, yeah. So getting paid to be you, that's mind blowing. Like, could you imagine? I mean, I know because I do get paid to be me.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm like, we're talking about this because we actually do what this chick is saying. We have jobbed our loves.
Yes. And it's not to say that all those other versions of me weren't actually me, because there were point in times in all the roles I've done that it was me and I loved it. But the minute you get to a point where you don't love something, you've outgrown it, and you're not getting paid to be you, your authentic self, because yourself evolved. It changed. Yeah. That's what I think.
Absolutely,
because at one time, did you love the job you had been doing?
No, I finished uni and I got a job and I stayed there for 11 years and I never thought that there was anything that I would ever be able to do other than that. So I was literally, it's like what you say in a way, I'm like, I guess the part that I enjoyed about the job was the people side, managing the people, kind of nurturing that, having relationships with, with the people that I worked with. That was what I loved. That was the me, in theory, part of it. But the part that I didn't enjoy was the work. Was the contract management, was the admin, was, the overwhelm of all the emails. I didn't love it. I didn't love my job.
Yeah. And you know what? I think you're right. Actually, I just realized I never liked the admin part of the job. I was in sales for a long time, gym sales, corporate sales, all this stuff. And I loved selling. Because I believed in everything I sold. But I didn't like the admin, and I was always so slow on that, and emails and this and that. And I just like and there's still a part of me that actually doesn't really like admin, but AI be doing all my admin. Yay. So honestly, and I heard something the other day that said, AI is the ADHD people's best friend. All the ADHD people in the world that found it hard to get their thoughts together and sit down and do all the detail and orientated stuff are now going to be thriving because they don't have to invest as much time. They just set it up, and it's true. It's so
Amazing.
true. You know, I'm getting more emails out, and I'm being able to respond and not feeling, you know.
Yeah,
But
totally. Yes.
What, like, how did you know? How did you? So when you left your job, were you here in Australia or where were you?
No, I was in the UK at that point, so I'd
Mm-hmm.
only ever lived in the UK, and I'd spent summers in Greece. So when I was like 20, my early 20s, I would go to Greece for my summers, and I remember being in my early 20s and just loving beach life, just loving it. And I was literally like, right, I need to get a job now. I finished uni, I can't keep just pissing around going to Greece every summer, you know, for 3 months. I did that for 3 years in a row. And anyway, I remember when I was that age and I was like, right, this is my last summer. And I thought, I am one day going to retire on a beach. And I was thinking, I'll go to Europe, I'll go to Spain or something. That was kind of the retire, you know, when I'm 60, in my 60s, I'm going to, you know, be back on the beach. And within 15 years or whatever, 10 years later, I can't remember however long it was, I was retired in theory on Bondi Beach. So I had kind of made that happen a lot sooner than I ever thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'd quit this job and ended up in Australia within, I don't know, a few months, just going on a 3-month holiday.
Yeah.
And I got there, and that's where I discovered this world of coaching. Yeah, so I'd always been into personal development, therapy, all the rest of it. I loved it, but I never thought I'd be able to get a job in it. I only ever thought I could do the job that I've been doing. I didn't know that there was any possibility that I was ever going to be able to do anything else. I didn't want to go back to uni and do any therapy. Psychotherapy courses. I'd already been to uni. It wasn't my, you know, talk about ADHD thing or whatever. It was not my bag, right? That sort of study was not me. So when I got to Australia and I saw that there was these coaching courses that I hadn't been exposed to in England, and you just went on a course and you spent however many days watching, you know, doing exercises, weren't sitting there studying, you know, books, reading, which totally wasn't my thing. I was like, this is amazing. I can job my love, finally.
Yeah. So, like, what was the tipping point? You're at your job, you hate it. What was the moment that you had?
So I'd gone through a period of quite a few months of real, like, just anxiety, not sleeping well, really stressed out, overwhelmed by this job. And I remember I got through that period, and I remember saying to myself, if I ever have a sleepless night because of this job again, I will quit, regardless of whether I've got another job or whatever. You know, I never thought that I would ever leave a job without having something else lined up. And this was like probably a few months later. And by this time, I'd broken up with a long-term partner. So we'd split up. I had some stuff going on at work again. And I woke up in the middle of the night one night and I was worrying about work. And in that moment, I said to myself, I'm handing my notice in tomorrow. And that's what I did. So I'd been there 11 years.
Wow. I mean, and I think it is moments. I mean, obviously it's a gradual build up, but I think remembering moments that just, you know, make you realize you're not valued, and that you might be worrying about the company, but the company's not worrying about you.
Yeah, and I guess that wasn't my kind of thing. Well, you know, that wasn't my sense on it. I knew I really always got on well with my bosses, with my staff. It was me. I was stressing myself out, and I really, you know, I love this Joseph, who, you know, we mutually know through our coach training. He says companies don't have stressed employees, or company. No, I can't remember, something like employees. I don't know, I can't remember, but basically saying that we stress ourselves out. I'll try and think of it later on. But basically that we're stressing ourselves out. And I could see that, you know, once I started the coaching process, I could see what was I doing to myself at night. I was lying in bed, running worst case scenario thoughts, you know, going way, you know, crazy thoughts about what could happen if I didn't get on top of my work. You know, so I stressed myself out around this job, and I was done. And I think that was the thing for me. It was, it was taking the responsibility for myself of going, okay, what am I still doing here if I don't like it? And it was also the thing of going, the thing that's keeping me here is the fear that I can't do anything else. It's a fear around the stability of, this is all I've known for this many years. It's the stability of the income and, the wage and all the rest of it. And it was like a moment of, can I trust that I can do something, with this if I quit? And this is what happened. So the next day I handed my notice in, and the very, same day, I got a phone call from an ex-boss of mine who said, look, we're looking for someone. Do you know anyone that's looking for a job? It's part-time. It's like every Friday off every week, similar to what I was doing, but it was just a cover role in a completely different organization. And it was literally on the same day. And I was just like, give me that. It was only going to be for a few months. It was a 3 months or something, maternity.
Yeah.
And it was literally like, that just, that came out of nowhere on that same day. I was like, I've just quit. Give me that job. And I went and I did that role and they extended it. And it was perfect. I had 4 days a week. I'd worked every day, for 11 years. I didn't know what a 4-day week was. And I was just like, this is amazing. I'm earning the same money on 4 days a week. And, and that kind of started that process of, and then I got into that job and I realized, even though it was similar, it was still a new role. And I was like, I can do this really easily, and they like what I'm doing. And then from there, I got another couple of jobs before I came out to Australia. And there was just random jobs, right? And I went in and I realized that I could do whatever they needed me to do. I couldn't just do the job that I'd done for 11 years. My skills were adaptable. I can do things, It was just that boost that it gave me to go, you're not stupid. You can't, there's more to you than just that role that you did.
The synchronicities, I guess, really paying attention, because sometimes an offer or situation arises right in your face. And because I've doubted myself, I can just look straight away, back in my 20s. And look, I'm exposed to a lot of amazing women in their late 20s, early 30s, and they are working hard. They are grinding. They are 10 to 12-hour days. They are on random calls to the UK in the middle of I see the level of anxiety in them and the level of stress and the overwhelm. And I wonder, is the company overworking them? Or is that some level of them, like you said, stressing themselves out because they need to do this well or that well? And you know what I mean? Or is it a combination? Is it a combination? And when talking to these young women, I ask them about, what they want to do, and that's never what they're doing right now. It's never the job, even though some of them are, leads in major companies. And I say, okay, well, why don't you shift into that? And they're like, oh no, but I don't have the experience and da 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 da. So there's a level of trusting that everything you've learnt now will shift you into a role you're not technically qualified for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, you were qualified, but also you had to trust yourself.
Absolutely.
New space, right? New space.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm seeing it with the young people. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I was that kind of age, so I was one of those, absolutely one of those people. And I think that's the thing, is like, and I guess that is, a lot of that, the narrative out there is that, it's kind of us against these corporations and all of this. But again, we're all part of this system. It's we hate it, but it's still paying our bills. We're going there for a reason. And I think there's, I think that part of it can sometimes get a bit in the way of things. We're just working for these people that don't care about us and all the rest of it. And it's like, well, we're still getting something out of it, right? We're getting paid, and it's a job. And I think that, and I get that there can be this resentment of all of this. But if we go up and set our own company, we become that. The same as those corporates, right? We're still there to earn our money, but we're doing it within a business on our own. We might employ some people and they might think the same. And is it true that no one cares about anyone? I don't know. But it's a survival thing,
Yeah. So even if you love your job, sorry, hold on. If you job your love, this is going to tongue tie me. even if you do that, there is an element that you're just going to go right back into the same system that you stepped out of to not want to be a part of. Because in jobbing your love, you might create a company, a business, an expansion, and create the whole systemic thing again.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're never going to be free. No, look, we're free. Never saying you're never going to be free is innately just trapping you. But
Yeah.
I guess you can always create organizations and space that is healthy.
Sure.
And
they might be healthy for you because you've created them, but you still might employ people that may have the same attitude towards you as you had towards the corporate, right? Because the ultimate thing is if we're creating a business, we're creating it for money. Yes, it may be there's a care factor as well, but ultimately we're all here for our own survival needs. So it's like it's if we could, it's a hard one, but if we could just kind of get that, then we're all here trying to survive in the world, and we've all got different ways of doing it. And there's a lot of those kind of shadow aspects where we're kind of seeing that they're an arsehole and they're trying to get money out of me and they're doing it for themselves, but we're turning up to that job for ourselves as well, and they're running their companies for themselves as well, because we're here to survive, and money is our survival.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you say that word survive, there's the old me that's quite like triggered, like, actually, no, I'm not surviving anymore. Actually, I literally don't freaking live to survive. I live to experience my joy and expansion in every moment. That's what I'm doing now. I did used to live to survive, and my joy and expansion is giving me income and abundance and will continue to do so. And honestly, the minute I switched my mind from survival, I started to thrive.
And I think that's it. So when people can get out of that mindset of that the companies are only there to make money, I'm only there, that is on behalf of survival. And again, so switching that from that is no longer being triggered by other people looking at them as greedy and all the rest of it, because we're all right within ourselves now. There's no need for us to be triggered by any of that anymore. If we've
and in the
resolved
past,
that within
I
ourselves.
left jobs because of that, because I had a role and then they restructured the role, and then I was like, but I liked my old role and they don't really care, and and they were like, well, if you don't like it, leave. And I'd worked there for ages, and I was like, nah, okay. Just leave. But I guess that mindset, that I also needed to say that I was a cog in their wheel, and that didn't work for me anymore. There was an element of understanding that I was disposable that allowed me to go, well, what's not disposable? Who's going to have you?
Yeah.
Me. Hence I work for me. Right? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, but if someone's working in a job they despise, what would you be telling them? What are the steps they should take?
Well, I think there's an element of understanding what it is, obviously what is it that they despise about their job, obviously understanding all of that. And I think, one of the key things is, because otherwise you just go, well, you just leave. And it's like, well, what's keeping you there? And if people are there and they're staying there, I mean, for me, it would have been years that I stayed there, right? It would have been definitely years of I could have left years before. But for me, there was a safety, security belief running. There was a confidence of not thinking that I would be able to do anything else. So it's kind of working through all of that. Distrust was running as to what would happen in the future. So it's really about what's keeping us there, and really understanding what it is that we're staying there for if we hate it that much. And I think once we can understand that, this is the key thing. It's looking at these things, and this is again where if we're working with a professional on this, we can start to realize with this stuff that often this is our programs that have been running us for a long time. So for me, worst case scenario thinking, future focused, distrusting, they weren't about that job. They were my innate programs that have been running since childhood that were there simmering away most of the time, but in heightened times of kind of stressful situations, they were then at the forefront. So, again, it's working through that stuff to understand that, which may be the thing that helps you. I always think if I was in this work, I was seeing a therapist at the time, but we weren't, this wasn't, this was nowhere, into this stuff, and always wondering if I was having coaching back then, whether it would have made a difference, whether I would have left earlier, whether I would have allowed myself to pursue some of the stuff that I kind of had in mind that I never thought that I would be able to do in theory. Who knows? It doesn't matter, but it always interests me to know if I'd have had these, more awareness of these sorts of tools, would that have meant that I left earlier? I don't know.
I mean, most people, because I do have these conversations a lot, and the most people will say, well, I can't just leave my job, I need money and I've got a family, or I need to pay my rent, it's Sydney, hello. What is your response to that? Just being devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, this honestly, this has changed for me over time. So I think back in, and because I also understand that not everyone is me. So, back in the day, I was a lot more, just, do this, don't worry about that. But as time went on, I would watch other people maybe giving up their jobs and maybe struggling. Maybe they weren't able to make it work in the same way that I had done. So there's a lot more compassion now as I've watched it. For me, it was just something, it was like, I didn't need a lot of money. Like, I didn't need loads. I know I lived in Bondi and, but I still had, accommodation that didn't cost loads. I wasn't supporting a family. So I get all of that. So if that's their situation, then obviously there might be some other work that they need to do around that. For me, it was like, okay, what's the bare minimum that I want for myself? And the bare minimum for me was to be able to afford my rent and to be able to, pay for my chai teas so I could sit in cafes all day, looking at the beach kind of thing and studying,
Sounds
and
good.
they were mine. Yeah. So it just depends what people want, and I think a lot of it for me was about, to me, even though at the start I wasn't earning a lot, it takes a while to build this up. For me, it was, I had created a life where I was on holiday all of the time. I didn't need to go on holidays. I didn't need to leave there. And I didn't need the money in theory that I may have needed before, because I wasn't trying to get away. Like, I would, in England, I'd be going on 7 holidays a year, when I lived there, because I needed to get away from my job, from my life. Whereas I created a life that was inexpensive, and I was so happy with the simplicity of it. I was like, this is perfect. This is everything I've ever wanted, to be on the beach. It's not for everyone. And some people have looked at my life and gone, how can you survive on that? And what about all these nice, and I'm like, well, that's, everyone's different in that.
When your cup is full, you don't need to fill it with things you don't need.
Yeah,
Like, because your cup is full. Like, I remember being in lockdown, and I wasn't earning as much. Obviously, it was lockdown, but I was really quite fulfilled. I mean, I was very lucky and I'm very privileged because I live near the beach, but it was a bare minimum time, and it was very fulfilling. As is this time right now, very fulfilling and abundant. But it's interesting because, people have different levels of requirement. When I've had clients that we've talked about this exact thing, that maybe their kids are small, maybe they can't sort of just go and quit a job. And for me, it's like cultivating joy in other areas of your life with a hobby or with a learning. Because here's the thing, right now you hate this job and you may feel confined by a situation, but it will change. And when the change is ready to happen, be prepared, my friends. Be prepared. Have you started planting the seeds? Have you started the learnings? Have you started the investigation into, well, what do I like? If I could do anything, because everyone's like, I want to leave my job. I just want to live a life of, abundance and doing, well, what is it you want to do? Because you'd get bored of doing nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally
what is
agree.
it you want? So start investigating now. So when the time comes, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's on that point as well, that's a reminder of something that, for me was really important. Again, in order to be able to plant the seeds, sow the seeds, to be able to do that in something that's loved as well. For me, it was important to have something on the side that was bringing in some money, but it was only kind of a part-time thing, in order that I had part-time for the study and for, getting, my first clients, doing buddy coaching, all the rest of it, and to have a job that was bringing in, some money. And I think that's something that I do see a lot with people as well as they're coming into this kind of work, sort of jobbing their love is, do I have some sort of do I have some savings? Do I have something that I can at least, not dedicate my whole time to, like a full-time job, but at least have some stream of income that can support me whilst that's building. So to just give it all up is probably not, that's the scary part for people, of course, to go, if I'm just going to throw this job in.
It's scary. Can I just pause you for a sec? Your screen is frozen. Is it frozen on your end?
I can't see you.
Oh, here we go. It's back.
Yeah.
It just froze for a sec. Exactly.
I can't see you. Your screen's
you can't see
gone
me?
off. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It
now?
Keeps going on and off. Yeah, I can see you.
Weird. Got it. Better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So having the side hustles, the side jobs, that's the thing. I do think when people are willing, like ready for change, they have to be ready for the fact that they might have a little bit less money, not permanently.
Sure.
And this isn't always, because I know people that have just gone into boom abundance. I've gone into less money, I've gone into more money, but each of those moves takes radical faith. And I get that that's a big space for everybody. The type of person I am, I'm always ready to jump off the bridge because I know there's a boat waiting down at the bottom. Most people are like, I'm going to die if I jump off that bridge. Where do I get these analogies from? I don't know.
Yeah, totally hearing you.
I'm always like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. Yeah. For me, this comes up being at rock bottom multiple times in my life. Multiple times. If you've been at rock bottom, and I mean rock bottom, like having nowhere to live, having no money, having lost your house, having like just rock bottom, if you've been there enough times, every time there's a challenge, you're like, nah, I can overcome that.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, I don't be scared of rock bottom because it's a really amazing place to climb from. And we're also scared of making a mistake or failing or this or that. I remember when I started coaching, one of the first things I learned is it's not failure, it's feedback. Right? And being a hard type 3 personality, I was so competitive. I used to be that type A. I'm type B. I don't give a fuck now. But I used to be like, no, I got to be the best. I can do it. I think Jay at one time called me can do, because if there was anything, I was like, I can do it. And I'm still like that, but I don't want to do it for the external validation. But do you feel, I mean, my perspective is that there is a lot of anxiety around failure and trying. And do you feel like that's growing? I see it more and more.
Do I think it's growing? I'm not sure. It's maybe talked about more, I guess. Do we talk about it more and people are more open to that? But I definitely think it's part of it, right? For sure. For some people, that would be the biggest thing is the failure part. Not getting it right, not being perfect, whether it's the safety survival, it's whatever. Again, it's our personality type as to what language we're going to go for that's going to stop us from doing something, and failure is definitely a huge part of that. So it's exploring that side of it, and is it just failure that you're scared of right now, or again is failure something that you've experienced, or maybe perfections all you've experienced in your life and you're scared to mess that up? So again, a lot of this stuff is going back to, is this a new thing that's happening right now in terms of fear of failure, or is it a habit, is it a pattern? As we talk about the the Enneagram, the type 3, the achiever, they're going to have a strong failure, a strong failure choice rather than maybe a safety and survival choice to go with. Yeah.
And it's funny because I think in one of our other conversations I referenced, well, yes, you've had failure, but how many times have you overcome failure? Having a chat with someone, they were like, well, I haven't overcome failure. the failure is still there. That's why I don't want to fail again. I don't want to do it. Like because it's so ingrained deeply, you know. Like I said the other day, if you fall off the swing and your mum goes, I told you not to swing too high, you're going to take that as you failed.
Yeah.
And it's so ingrained, the failures of the perceived failures that were given to us or projected, that we are now scared to try.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And someone said, well, what I'm not gonna fail because I'm not gonna do it because I don't, it's there. I've already failed. I can't trust myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I had that. I was like, I can't trust myself. I've had that. For me, it's not with work, it's with relationships. I have that. I can't trust my judgment, can't trust my own, because I've failed at so many.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, I hear you on that.
So,
And I think that's again where you come back to what you just said there. It's that reframing of it. It's not failure, it's feedback. So every time something doesn't work out, because it's going to not work out, again, it's what can we take away from this? What do we learn? Or do we do differently? All the stuff that's quite quite out there quite a lot at the moment. And
yeah, it is feedback. I mean, because you just keep evolving and evolving. And I was watching something last night, and this guy said something crazy though. His name's Panache. He is I don't know if you've heard of him. You remind me of him. He said, well, is there really any evolution? There's no evolution. There's only oneness, and everything's happening now. You're not even evolving.
Yeah.
You're not evolving. You're just having different experiences. Because evolving means there's a linear process somewhere along the line, and man has the desire to continually put things in a linear process. If we let go of linear and just go different experience, we take away the pressure of needing to change and overcome. And what do you think of that?
Love it. Absolutely. Love it.
Thought you would. I told you you're him. I mean, because this is quite deep, right? But
absolutely. And I think again this is all around what meaning can we create around this. And if that is something that resonates with people listening, and that's something that they can take away, and that's what they can have on repeat for themselves, that could be enough for them to reframe and to change the thoughts they were having before, and just go, right, if that's all it is, then all I'm going to do is see experiences rather than all the old stuff that I was running. So absolutely. So many different ways of reframing. And I think, one of the ones that I love as well is, it's not for everyone, especially when people are high achievers necessarily, they won't like this one, but it's like, can you give yourself permission to fail? Yeah. No, there's just no way that I can do that. But it's like, but what? So if you've given yourself permission to do it, if it does happen, it's okay. Whereas if we're resisting failing and it happens, we're going to suffer it so much more. What we resist persists. If we go, okay, I give myself permission to fail, then it's kind of like if something doesn't go 100% the way we wanted it to or thought it would, it's going to be a much less severe blow. It's going to be a much softer landing in that. It's like, whew.
Wow. It is, and it is always coming back to what you resist persists.
Totally.
The struggle is constantly, I mean, if we think about, a piece of rope, and we're pulling this side, and our resistance is us pulling this side, and we're pulling, and we're just creating all this tension. The rope's not going to break. We're not strong enough. But if we just let go of one side, we can have the whole rope. Again, don't know where I come up with this. But that's what came to my mind just then, because that's that resistance. Like it's chaos. If I put it into a visual format and I go, well, because people go, what resistance? That's just me going, oh, this, that. Creating obstacles in your head is resistance. Yeah. So do the visual. If you're pulling a rope at two sides, mate, it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Absolutely.
And I think for me, I've had that reframe. Go ahead. Sorry, you're a bit of a delay.
No, go. No, speak.
No, you go. You go.
I was going to say to liken that as well to it's like, say someone is, you know, they're doing anxiety, they're having panic attacks, and it's the same thing. If we're resisting the experience that we're having in that moment, and we're, you know, in our heads panicking about our panic, you know, panicking about anxiety, that's when we are shortening our breath so that we are panicking, because we're now cutting off the supplies of, you know, of the oxygen, and we're in a panic. Whereas if we stop resisting what's happening and just allow ourselves permission for that anxiety to be running, it's like we can take a breath, we can get that air down into us, and then there is no panic. But whilst we're in that resistance of it, it's there, it's, you know, blocking it. This is causing this to kind of to cut off. It's just like the minute we can go permission, it's like, oh, I'm relaxing now, and then there's no panic, there's no anxiety, we're here, we're present, we're no longer, you know, in our heads talking to ourselves about what's happening.
So that's interesting, because I did have someone say to me the other day that they're in this job, they've just started, it's a new role, and they are not feeling like they have space to enjoy the role or settle in. They have some anxiety about their ability, because there's a new element to the role that they have to do. But also there's a manager who's not really even their manager, who continually sort of jibes at them, or like just makes comments that just, you know, and they're in different age brackets. And so the person said to me, am I being like overreactive, but is this job for me? I'm not feeling like I want to get up and go to work every day. I'm not feeling motivated. So which is it? Is it that the role, they're not aligning with the role, or is it that there's these factors that they're being triggered by?
I mean, probably both.
Yeah, well, that's helpful.
Maybe a bit of both. Yeah, for sure. I think what came up for me is, as you started talking about that as well, it's like when we say job your love, there is also, and people are going to go, this is, you know, someone that's in the position of possibly this.
Yeah. Go back, pause, say that again. When we say job your love.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is we're talking about job your love. And in a sense, you could look at that girl that you've had that conversation with, and potentially she may not like this, but there is also the option of us, if we're choosing to be in the job that we're in, can we choose to start to think differently about it and to stop triggering ourselves as much? And that's when we can start to love more, you know, what's happening there. You know, because this is the thing, sometimes people are you know, they're there and they're hating it, but they're not leaving, and in a way that might be the way to get them out eventually, but in that short term, is it really the most healthy thing for them? And the potential is, if it's not, then how can we start to see the boss through different eyes? I know that's a difficult one, but start to see, what is it about his behavior that is really bothering me? And if I start to, you know, notice what that is for me, what that's bringing up, maybe what that's reminding me of, maybe it's my dad, maybe it's my mum, you know, something like that. There's something going on with this. If I start to really work on that side, then the potential is then that relationship, as annoying as that person is, I may end up having a different relationship with that person, because I'm dealing with what's going on within me in the face of them. And then the whole energy starts to change between you and that person. Then the job may become a bit more, you know, lovable or whatever, a bit more, you know, and then we can start to play with this stuff. If we're choosing to be there, you use this as a mirror for yourself. Use these opportunities, these people that are triggering you, to go, okay, what can I learn about myself in this? Where is this person maybe a part of me that I can see that I'm not really enjoying about myself, that I might judge about myself, or it's reminding me of a family member that, you know, I didn't have a great relationship with, or maybe still don't.
And what's interesting is that most of the time I'm having these conversations, I'm around a lot of, you know, those late 20s, early 30s girls, and then they're having, so the millennial Gen Z are having the issues with the Gen Y boomer. Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're not loving their job and they're not jobbing their love. But it's my mapping of what's I'm always seeing and what's always shared with me is this exact thing. This person is from a different time and they do not like the youth coming in and sharing their perspective or experience, or they don't understand it. Yeah, because technology and the youth are very up there. So,
and we were those youth at one point that weren't being liked.
we were.
This is the thing that we miss. I always sit there and listen to my friends going, "Oh my God, these kids and all of this," and it was like that was you at some point, but we don't realise that was no. We were different. We were so much more hardworking. People would have been talking about you in the exact same way as you're talking about younger people now, but we kind of just missed it. It's
exactly.
We're so ingrained in listening to it, we end up saying it without realizing that it's part of our programming to be saying it about them, to be seeing this huge difference rather than the evolution of of us as humans, and things are going to be different at different stages, but we were also different to the way we are now through experience and practice, and I always have a little laugh at those.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a divide I see a lot of, and I experience a lot of, and I'm around a lot of different people, and I'm on a lot of different sets. And when I'm on different sets, there's production companies, and that production company will have a head of production, and then then you've got the younger people. So it's there. It's there. It's really interesting to watch because you're watching it all happen in real time in front of your face.
Love that.
As an observer. You would love it. The dynamics.
Love that.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think you know what I always say to people about this, it's like when someone's complaining about the younger people or whichever way around it is, it's like imagine just getting curious to it. So instead of annoying ourselves with these younger generation, it's like, for me, it's like exciting. Like I want to know what that, I don't want to be the old fucker that's sitting there complaining about young people like I used to hear people doing about my generation. It's like, how do we stay young? Is understand people, get curious to it, make your experience a bit easier and the more you actually get into the heads of them, it's like quite fascinating. And then you may realize actually there's maybe actually more similarities than you really thought, as you kind of look on it now that you can understand more their process of thinking. And I think there is this thing that can come up a lot is like, well, these young kids are lazy and they've got anxiety, and it's like, well, this is what's happening in the world now that we're talking about mental health more. So of course they're going to be talking more about their stuff because we didn't get that. And now we're kind of annoyed with it because it seems like they're lazy. But this is the way that the world's evolving in order to hopefully help people younger, because we're kind of coming to this work a little bit older. But again, it's the resistance to change. And again, we're so just narrow in our ability to kind of, see, because we haven't been trained to have a broader spectrum. We just miss how we are.
So how would you help? Like, I mean, I think you said tell them to get curious, about because I'm taking it more from the younger girls, just hearing them. How can they get curious about the person who's like they feel is making life extremely hard, and I think it's the other thing I've heard is like, well, just because someone's older and has children and I don't, doesn't mean that their ability to have time off or their time off is more valuable than my desire to have time off for whatever I need.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the sorts of things. This is I don't know how. I mean, personally, it would be have a conversation, see if you can engage them in a chat, just get some connection going versus just what's being viewed. It doesn't necessarily have to be an interrogation into why they think that their time's more important or whatever, but it's like, how is it to be a mum? I'm really curious, just make the minute that we can start growing those, the way that we relate to people, the more the less we will bother ourselves with some of these things, because now we can kind of go, oh, I've had a nice conversation with them. Actually, they're not as bad as I thought. We hear this so much. Often we don't think people are very nice until we've maybe actually spent some real valuable time communicating with them to even have a nice conversation, if it's not about much at all, but to build some sort of connection in order then to ease all of that other frustration that comes out.
And look, I totally, I hear you. And I've always I think naturally I am curious about people, and I like to, keep my friends close and my enemies closer. So therefore I get to know my enemies and they become my friends. I've got a very good friend that we've been friends for more than 10 years. And when we met, we did not like each other. We had to work with each other, but in different companies, but we were partnered on stuff. And I just couldn't stand her and she couldn't stand me. And I was like, I'm going to have to put up with this bitch. So I'm going to have to get to know
How
her.
similar do you think you are?
We are so different and so similar at the same time.
Yeah.
We're like, we're total opposites, which is most of my friends, but similar in the same that, we have the same humor and we see the same perspective on a lot of things. And but honestly, here's the thing, I think, and you have to want to pull the people that challenge you close. Not to the point of triggering yourself into a space of trauma. That's a whole other thing. If it's not safe, it doesn't make you feel safe, then you need to step away. But if it's just like, I'm uncomfortable with this feeling, or this person's pissing me off, if it's something you can do, I think pull them in.
Absolutely.
You might be meeting the best friend of your life.
Exactly, I totally agree. And I definitely think there's something in the more work that we do on ourselves, the easier it is to talk to people, to get to know people, to I'm not saying, to not feel unsafe around some people that may not really be unsafe, but there's just some reminder of something, from our past that's coming up as we're spending time with them. So I think, always a chance for exploring our own triggers in the face of those that are, pissing us off.
One way to job your love is, if you like what you do, but you can't connect with the people around you, pull them in and find connection. Find common ground, go there. And then if it's still not working for you, do you really love that job that much? Or, is it really a job love situation? I was fucking getting tongue tied, mate. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear this much. I don't care. So I mean, but like you loved the people you worked with. But it was time for change because you didn't like the actual getting up and doing this shit.
Totally. I was just like,
it.
It had been a long time. I'd been there too long. And I think as well, it's not uncommon for people to go, it's the people, it's all about the people. And that was definitely, the people thing was, and that was the whole part of it, to be able to do just the people side. And so we would, like, when I'd get into work, there'd be me and my manager and one of my other colleagues, but we were like three best friends. And every morning we would go into work, and we were like the three managers, and we'd go and lock ourselves in an office, and we'd have a cry, or we'd just have a chat about how much anxiety we were having. Like, we would literally, we'd have these little meetings, and then we'd all like just have a little hug and stuff, and then we'd go out. And we was like game face on, and we were like the managers of these, there's a lot of men actually that we were managing at the time. And it was just like, that was what we'd have our little huddle in the morning, and then we'd just get out there. No one would have a clue that there was, anything going on. But it was really important for us to do that, and, to be able to then be there to support everyone else who was, struggling like we were. It's just, that was the thing for me. And people would say to me, one of my bosses might say to me, you need to go and tell your employee this, he's got to do this or whatever. And I'd sit there and I'd be like, he fucking hates his job and he's angry. And I could sit and I'd feel sorry for them. So I wasn't going to go and repeat what I was being told to repeat to people, because I felt sorry for them. And I could actually, I could totally see, that the suffering is. So I would, handle things very differently with my staff, because I could see, we're all in the same boat here. But that was the part for me. It was like, this is the part that I love. And even with one of my bosses once, when we left, she came and she said, look, she actually apologized to me, because she knew that what she was saying to me in times in that job when we were really stressed wasn't from her heart. She knew that she was doing what she had to do as per what she was being told to do, and it wasn't her truth. And that was part of it as well, to just, I didn't need her to say sorry, but it was beautiful, to have that thing of going, she felt bad for that. Whereas I never let myself be like that with my staff. I just was like, I get it,
Is it misery loves company?
So,
you know what I mean? I mean, it's great. You're all friends. and you're all there together miserable.
Yeah, but we were, you know, I don't see it as it was like that. We were very, you know, one of the girls was way ahead of in her emotional intelligence, and it was like we did what we needed to do. We had our time of getting that out there in a very healthy way. I found it very, you know, very healthy to be able to just go, let's have a little cry and a whatever about it, and then, you know, we're in a really stressful environment. So it's no, amazing women. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I wonder if people are ready to take the leap and leave their job, but they don't know what they're going to go into next. They say this is for people who, well, if you don't have, you're not ready to take the leap and you're not financially ready and you have responsibilities, my step one is start exploring what your hobbies are. Start planting seeds, start learning, because the day for change will come. Step two, for the people who are ready, I've got a little bit of money in the bank. I can just afford to leave my job now and be okay for the next month or whatever. What am I going to do? What do you think?
Well, absolutely. What is in addition to that, or about that? What's?
Well, yeah. I mean, what would be the steps to make sure they moving towards jobbing their love? For you.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely around that exploration of what's keeping you there. If you're in one at the moment and you're really hating it, what is it that, you know, really explore what it is that's keeping you there, what fears may be running, the failure, as we talked about, the worst case, the survival needs. Is it confidence? Is it you think you're never going to be able to do anything else? So importantly, exploring what all of that is. And yeah, I think we touched on this earlier. Like, I will often say to clients, they'll be like, I don't like my job, I hate it. And it's like, well, what would you want to do? And a lot of people will often say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it will literally be like, I'll say to them, just say something. Like, it can be the most ridiculous job that you think that you are never going to be able to do, or it's just absolutely impossible, you know, to live off that money or whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Just say something. And most people will come up with something. And it's like, okay, you may think that that's completely out of your reach, that's completely ridiculous, or you wouldn't be able to live off that amount of money, but you know that you've got a passion in that area at least. Even if it's not about quitting your job now and going and doing that now, at least, as you say, do something in a hobby sense or something, at least, you know, but make them start to explore what might be possible in the realms of that. And people will start to go, okay, maybe I can think again of maybe I can become a dog walker. Maybe I don't need as much money. If I'm going out walking dogs all day, is that going to be enough for me to be, you know, to have my holiday time within the job kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think exploring the possibilities of anything that you have thought is absolutely impossible, or
And trying, if you're going to leave that job and you're ready, just to give you some actionable tools, if you're ready to step out, don't feel bad. Don't worry. Don't look back. Go work in a cafe. Go work in a gym. Go work. I've had to go backwards, some people call it, many times. I've gone from, you know, doing sales and marketing to then working reception to it's okay.
Yeah.
Your joy has more value than your title of your job.
Yeah. And I think I hear so much, as, you know, people around me as we're getting older, is people are preferencing those backward jobs. Working in a cafe by a beach versus going into a corporate in the you know, in Sydney CBD or whatever it is. Give me a cafe any day of the week, you know. When I first my one of the jobs that I was doing when I first got to Sydney, when I started studying, I went and worked for an events company. I absolutely loved it. I'd always wanted to work in events, so I went to work for this company where they would send us on, like, we'd go and do conferences. So I was working in all, like, the 5-star hotels. I got to see a lot of Sydney because I hadn't really left Bondi at this point. And I was literally going into all of these amazing hotels, and I was just, like, working with events teams, but we were just there for the days, right? They put us on a conference for the day, supporting the teams. And so I absolutely loved it. I was on my feet running around all day, with people, managing teams of all these young kids that were helping out with the reception thing. And I absolutely loved it. And I was like, this is fucking so much better than what I was doing sitting in an office. I'm in Sydney. Yeah. just doing something that's part-time that's allowing me to then have my time to study. So it may be seen as backwards, but oh God, this is just fun.
So for me, I noticed that the taking the step, the number one thing you got to have is the belief in possibility. And I constantly come up against people's beliefs in no possibility. Their possibility, their scope for what's possible is only based on what they're exposed to in their immediate metro circumference. So
the beauty of an ADHD mind, eh?
Yeah, exactly. We win. But it's not that there's winners.
But it's versus, you could say, a different personality type that is, preserving their survival, their survival needs. Let's say a type 7 on the Enneagram and enthusiast versus a type 6, right? So it's different kind of, the possibility part is going to be potentially some sort of trauma response that allows us to be into options and possibilities versus I'm just, happy to stay here because this is my survival. This is keeping me safe, and this feels better actually than to be overwhelmed by too many options. And
exactly. So they feel that. That's right. Whereas I tend to get very like, well, why am I not like, I want something else. I want to do more. I want to, because and it's happening more and more the more I get older, because I'm like, time is, in this life is going. But there is those people, well, they're unhappy in their life and their job, but their trauma, I have to stay here. I have to be safe. I got to work 50 hours a week.
As the lawyer, the type 6, So it definitely is a huge, different. Because I would watch people not knowing about the Enneagram types or anything. I'd see the 7s. I'd see my friends going from job to job, thinking they're absolutely fucking crazy. Whereas they're probably looking at me going, "Why is she in that boring job?" And I'm there going, "Yeah, I've got money and I've got, my safety."
And do you know what? My partner, he looks at me like I'm crazy, like I'm a fucking lunatic. How is she living? I mean, obviously we have 2 separate homes, and that's 2 separate bills and 2 separate rents. And I mean, I look after myself, and I live alone. My lifestyle requires radical faith. If you don't got it, let me tell you. And I live really, really, really well and really good now. But when I doubted myself and didn't back myself, that's when things didn't fall into place. Because opportunities would come and I didn't think I was good enough, or I couldn't, or I'd make excuses, or I'd not submit. But now I'm just like, I'm so busy going, fuck yes, I can do that, in a way that's like joyful, not in a way that I need to prove something to the world, that it all lines up. But for him, he's got to have that consistency, that safety, that, that, and I don't know. It's a lot of people. I mean, I know a lot of people who are not particularly happy.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Because look, you're going to do this, and then you're going to get to 70, and then what? Right? You're going to retire. Congratulations.
This is the thing that we've got to remember with this as well, Candice, is like if people are going to regret things and they believe that time is, finite and all the rest of it, then they will regret it. If people are more in that mindset, whereas you're going to look at them and go, well, they're boring, but they're going, I've got my pension and I'm set, and this is, I've got my house, my super pension, whatever we want to call it, and I've got, my house, and I've got my safety, and I've got my stability, and maybe they're not running regret. They're okay with the fact that this is what they need in their life. And it's like, again, it comes down to what's our personality type. And if we're okay with that, then that's fine. But if there is something within us that is stopping ourselves from doing it because of that fear, then obviously this is where we want to start to make some change.
What's interesting is that on people's deathbeds, I'm obsessed with death. The one thing, the research they've done is that the number one regret of humans is not living how they wanted to, as in love, living, they loved someone, they didn't express it, as in lifestyle, as in what they wanted to do with their life, where they want to live, and career, passion.
But then there's also people, and this is where I don't take that too seriously, because I know that there's a lot of people that live in regret. So I see people and they are doing so much in their life, but it's still not enough, and there's still not enough time. So when that's running, of course, you're going to keep running and running, trying to feel more, and you've done fuckloads, but because you've got that program, you're still going to be on your deathbed regretting it, you know? So it's part of our human nature.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's part of our human nature. Yeah.
And this is why I think I am continually having to have yoga and meditation in my life, because it's a grounding force. Because I can just run away with myself and like, everything's so exciting.
And imagine you've got someone who's had a lifetime, or, you know, maybe the latter, in a really grounded meditative state. They're probably, that, you know, to a lot of people that's boring. They're probably not going to be lying on their deathbed going, I wish I'd done loads. No, they're probably going to be very happy that they're in a calm state, that they're already in preparation for the death state. They didn't need all the excitement. They may have done that earlier on in their life. So it's, again, it's like there's no rules around this, right? It's just paying attention to what are we paining ourselves with.
And I wonder if it's not about following the excitement, but the truth, your heart's truth.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what the regret on the deathbed is, not following the heart's truth. It's not following everything that's glittering and golding, or whatever that word is, but it's, did I follow my heart's truth?
Exactly. Yeah.
So here's the
and
thing.
Often that comes down to a peaceful feeling. And we think it's through excitement, and we think it's all of that. But a lot of the time in this work, we're starting to get to that with a lot of people now, that they're tired of the excitement. We can't live on that till we're that old, because we're going to run ourselves, you know, really thin. So it's like mostly people are now realizing that actually it's more peace that they want rather than the highs, especially the older we get, right?
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And I think when I'm doing things, it's joyful, it's peaceful, whereas before it was excitement. Like, I'd get such a buzz from everything. I fucking love a buzz.
That was like me and anxiety. I hated it. Same feeling, different meaning.
Different meaning. I'm busy on a buzz. And now it's like I do feel a lot more joyful and peaceful, but I do love the joyfulness. And that's because I think I've had a lot of sorrow. I spent a lot of time in sorrow in the first half of my life, and to finally overcome that and use this wanting to experience everything joyfully and peacefully, it's nice. Whereas before I wanted to experience everything just to escape. I'm not trying to escape my life at this point. I enjoy it peacefully.
It's amazing.
But
that's jobbing your love, right?
Jobbing your love, jobbing. Okay, so just want to, I know it's like 56 minutes, but jobbing your love, there are people on the TikTok who are selling stickers and crocheting shit and selling them. They job their love. I'm just saying.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There it is.
And
there it is.
I know, because I follow these people, because I don't know, I really love seeing people take their hobby and just make it something. Because they were all doing other things. They all had other jobs, and they all went, you know, some of them don't even show their face. It's just their hands, but then they talk. They're like, I'm making this, and I love that. I love it, because I want to be crafty, and I'm not. I would like that in my next chapter of this life. But they all had regular jobs and did regular things, and now they've built a massive, well, this is what I love. I'm just going to do it and film it and see what happens. So even if you think your hobby is frivolous, how much do you love it?
Exactly. And I think that there's a really key part in that, of the more that we do love it, the more that we can trust in it, the more consistent we are with it, the more success we will have within it in terms of the, you know, finances or whatever it is we're looking for within it. And consistency is such a big part of this. And at first it may seem like it's really hard work and it's a bit of a struggle, but the more that we keep at it without losing, not we don't want to lose the love for it, right? But consistency is such a big part. And I think a lot of it is as long as we can keep that kind of mind, in that more positive, consistency will most likely get us somewhere, rather than
and
when
I think that when you post, stop caring about who's watching or not watching. Like, if you want to post something, just post it, just do it, because you're enjoying it and you want to share what brings you joy. And maybe
it
50
only
people.
takes one person anyway in one of those posts. It doesn't need to get a million views for it to just, one person to see it that can make all the difference in it. And that's definitely been a big one for me over the years. Is people are like, how can you post that? That quality's crap. Or it's like, oh, I don't care. A client's just come out of that shit post because,
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I have had people say to me, well, your views aren't that high. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I've also had people come to me and go, actually, I just saw that video that you put up the other day, and you know what? It was really insightful and I loved it.
Exactly. That's it. This is
right?
it, isn't it? Yeah.
But
it's even those, people that are the ones that are getting, lots of views and lots of followers, doesn't mean that they're not getting a lot of hate as well as the love, right? So it's like, it doesn't matter how many are seeing it. It doesn't matter that it's all positive. So exactly, going back to the less we can care in theory, the more we will be consistent, and the more we just trust that it's not for everyone, regardless of the really big, the really big, seemingly popular ones.
So I want to just go to the other end of the scale, because this is what I do. Unfortunately, I job all my loves. Unfortunately, I take all my loves and I try to job them. And the what this is I was talking to someone a while ago who's also a yoga teacher. I was like, wow, you're really good at art. You should run some art classes. And she said to me, yeah, I know, right? But this is the thing. I can't just make all my hobbies my job. And I have been known to make all my hobbies my job. Everything I've done.
Is that okay, though?
I think they lose their gloss. Some things I'm realizing now, some things that I love, I don't have to be in the job.
Okay.
It's okay for me not to be to be sharing it. For example, I still love teaching yoga, and I still cover, but I don't have to be doing it. It's still a passion. But it's just, for me, it's just something I love now, just to do. It's very weird. My brain's going, what? How is this? So is there a risk of doing that, taking your hobbies and trying to make them all a job?
Yeah, and I think that comes again down to ADHD, whatever we want to call it. We call it the mind programming, right?
The programming.
Yeah, call it whatever we want. But if it's serving people to do that, then why not? But if it's not, and we're finding that it's less about what we're loving, even though we're loving it, but more about needing to keep ourselves, hyped up, excited, not bored, then maybe there's something to look at within our programming, our core programming, that we might want to get a bit more focused, start to change those neural pathways to become a bit calmer. And then we may, not need to be jobbing every love. So is it genuinely I want to do it? Yeah, or is it that I actually am being driven by my trauma responses, by my programming? So,
So just to recap, we have talked about, if you're not ready, jobbing your love. If you want to job your love, you don't know what you love, start planting seeds of exploration and curiosity in your life. Yeah. If your job is giving you anxiety, and see if you can lean in to pull it in and find ways you can allow the anxiety. Allow and find connection, find a way through. If you are ready to step out of your job and job your love, go out there, do any type of job, play, explore. It's okay, guys. It's okay to change jobs. That old thing of, oh, you can't change job a million times. Yes, you can. I've changed jobs a million times. And you know what? That whole time I was just creating a tool belt of resources that literally got me here today. Just saying.
Love it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I know all the people that are like really grounded and this is triggering for you. But my perspective is it's okay. Go play. Go try new things if you want to find what you love. Step 3.
Exactly.
Don't chase the high. Don't job all your loves. Yeah. Find out what's fulfilling and what you want to expand on. Not every hobby needs to become a job unless it's serving you and you just want to live like that. But I can tell you, don't do it. Any final thoughts?
I think, something just, that we've obviously touched on throughout is go and explore if this is something that is really holding you back. Go and speak to someone, see someone. I always offer a free call in this as well. But yeah, maybe you need some help in order to understand what's happening for you internally that's helping you distrust knowing what you want to do, not allowing yourself to go for what it is that you think might be impossible. Is it confidence? Is it worst case thinking? What is it that's stopping you from quitting? So there's, the potential to look at all of the internal stuff that's running you that may be stopping you from living loving.
Yeah. And job. Guys, just for some insight with coaching, like you can shift things really quickly. Like you might have been obsessing about this for 5 years, but you'll go into a coaching session, you can shift it in 20 minutes. You don't need 10 years of therapy to have clarity.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's why we love it. That's why we love it. It's like, boom, can be done. Absolutely. So I highly recommend. And we will see you all soon. Thank you.
See you next time. Bye.